Welcome to Stray Logic, the podcast that has its main focus on random thoughts, individual perception, and hearsay. Pull up a chair, some coffee, and maybe a shot or two, and enjoy the ride. Today we have Ryu.
What's up, everybody?
And Rooster. Mr. Conspiracies themselves. So today's...
Sirs, you could call us.
We got a deep one for you tonight.
No, I will not assume your gender. Okay, we are a PC podcast / video podcast.
Is that why we don't have any coffee or shots or anything?
Yeah.
What is with this shit?
We don't assume gender, okay? Now, this is going to be a podcast and a video podcast, and if you're on our Castbox, check us out on YouTube. This one has every single episode has a different background, so you'll see us talking, and this one's actually kind of ominous. Like, it's kind of cool because both these guys are conspiracy, and we're all wearing hats. And
yeah.
But you won't know that until you check us out on YouTube. So this one's important because this one, every single time somebody's heard our podcast, it's went up with me around.
With conspiracy
in mind,
yeah.
They're like, wait, everybody stops what they're doing and looks at me like, wait, you don't know what this is?
Yeah, because you don't know like half of it.
Yeah, well, they're like, you need to know. But it's never like a positive no. It's always like, you got some bad news for you, man. Like,
yeah. I do feel bad because it's like all these things that I'm exposing you to like over this time. It's like you're finding out shit about the world. You're like, man, that really fucking sucks.
Well, and I mean, I have a pretty realistic ground too. Like, I know a lot about life.
The reality of life. That life is hard and life sucks. But like, there's some shit.
Some fucked up shit. Yeah.
I'm wondering which one we gonna expose to him to that he's gonna be like,
that's gonna wake him up.
Fuck.
Which one actually breaks me? Go home, red tie.
This one might do it because it's real and the government's already.
No, I'm not too worried about that. The government has yet to surprise me on something.
I think we've already planted the seed, especially with that one.
So
the frogs are gay.
Never underestimate the power of planting the seed.
Yeah, Inception. So get this. If this is your first episode you're turning into, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but just so you know, these guys, I met both these guys separately. They did not know each other before this, so this is kind of like the disclaimer. Out of all of us, I'm the most well-rounded in the sense of like grounding. So I'm the closest to, how would you say that? Like, I'm the most innocent.
Yeah,
I'm the most innocent in life.
Indoctrinated?
I'm not Well, get the fuck out of here. So I'm the one that actually, like, I never paid attention to that stuff. I spent my entire life in a gym studying history, and so like that's why not a lot of this surprises me.
Right,
you know, history repeats itself.
Seen the realities
Space, psychology, philosophy, and fighting. That's pretty much my entire life to a T. Where these guys spend,
roll the dice and then throw it, and we'll see where it lands.
Yeah, basically, yeah. Just so much time, kind of, I don't want to say investigating, but definitely like wanting to know.
Just knowing.
Yeah, just wanting to know what's going on out there. So they spend a ton of time doing that.
That's my free time. That's what I have been doing in my free time for years. Is like whenever I get bored, I look something up, and then when that takes me another direction, I follow it.
Yeah.
And I always follow the directions. I always open that door into the next thing, and that's where all my research comes from. Because it's just one thing leads to the next, to the next, to the next, and that's
kind of like YouTube. Sometimes it just takes you in weird places. You're like, wait, how did I get here?
It's like Jack Skeleton when he goes into the woods and he has all those doors. It's like, which one? Which one?
Yeah, and then Rooster, he has different beliefs than everybody else in the room, but we respect his beliefs because flat Earth is okay. Yeah, that's the nicest I've been to him about the whole subject, and probably ever.
Yeah.
Ever. So if you want to really hear my feelings on the flat Earth, go back to our second episode.
Yeah.
Our second episode, and I'll tell you exactly how I feel. That all aside, so today we're talking about MK Ultra. That's really all I know.
You just know the name.
I know the name, and I know that people keep telling me I want to hear it, and I know you guys are probably dying to hear it, or if you know it, you're waiting to see what we know so you can tell us how wrong we are.
You've never seen any of the movies or anything to deal with any of it, huh?
I've never watched any movies on it.
Well, you've seen American Ultra. That kind of counts. No, you haven't seen that? Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Fuck.
No.
He's indoctrinated too. Where are you going to go with that?
Damn.
So let's start at the beginning. So I don't know anything, so I can't really even ask that.
Okay.
So like, where do we start with this? So we're talking the 70s, right? Is that you guys said something?
No,
about
way
that?
earlier than
Before
that. The 50s.
the 50s.
Yeah,
So
I think it was 50. Was it
the
53?
original disclosed dates of MK Ultra is roughly like 53 to 63. I think is what or 53 to 73. I'm sorry, somewhere in there. It's about a 20-year span, but that's what they say that the lifespan of the program was. What really?
Yeah, allegedly, it's been closed
disclosed?
down.
Because some of the documentation's been disclosed, but a lot of it is still classified. Like, a lot of it. And it probably always will be. But we've gotten a few things from the Freedom of Information Act. A lot of the stuff that happened with Watergate is what exposed MK Ultra. So when shit went down with Nixon, right after that, you know, they were like, okay, we need to be more transparent with what the government's doing. And, so this was part of that transparency. That this was an illegal program, but run by the CIA, and was done in foreign countries, in prisons, in the American population, kind of everywhere. And they were different experiments as far as a lot of different things. So it was the whole point of the program, allegedly, was mind control. They wanted a way to control the masses, like a literal mind control, some type of indoctrination, or just something to where the people could see things or hear about things and not be fazed by it, and then vice versa, like small things they wanted to trigger the public about. So, you know, it was
Programming.
Yeah, it was literal programming. They were trying to find different ways to break the human psyche to try and make it able to be manipulated for the benefit of the American government.
And they've used so many different drugs, sex abuse. They've
Physical
used
torture.
Disney fucking movies over and over, like all kinds of crazy shit.
So here's some things I do know, especially about psychology, because I mean, I went to college.
That's what you studied, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of what we see on TV and stuff like that is, but there's studies of that now. I mean, that's still going on today.
It's subliminal. There's things.
Well, subliminal messaging is some of it. Some of it's, you know, like it's the idea is that there's ways to control your impulse, and the idea is that
that's what marketing is designed around.
Yep. So I mean, this is nothing new to me, but I mean, I'm probably so far we're not hitting an area that's great. We know that government.
Right.
We know people do this. We know everybody does it in free time because that's what sells.
Yeah.
In a consumer
So that's
society.
marketing. That's one thing. That's one thing to put something in front of you.
Right.
To try and influence you to buy something. This was literal. We're gonna take people from college campuses and we're gonna say, hey, we're doing this drug program. Come sign up for it. It's like a phase 2 trial of the FDA or whatever. We're trying out these new drugs to help people with depression and schizophrenia and anxiety and all these things, and we're going to try and see if we can help people. That was the guise of what MK Ultra was to universities. So you had university students that were studying law, studying psychology, studying all these things, and then they go do these drug programs because whether this still happens today, I don't know, I haven't looked into, but back in the day, you could go try these drug trials and you'd get paid for it.
You still can, yeah.
Okay, so struggling college students trying to make a little cash on the side, okay, I'll go take this drug. The government's doing it, so it'll be relatively safe. That's, kind of the mind process that you go through. It's like, okay, this is offered to me, they're going to try and study it, I'll make some money on it.
Right.
And you don't think that it's sinister in design.
Drug trials.
Yeah, you don't think it's sinister in design, but they found out through the Freedom of Information Act and all that no, the CIA was going through finding these subjects that were already mentally fucked and trying to break them further. And the whole point was to make them literal slaves. Like that was the terminology used, was slave and master. Like there was conditioners, there was handlers, there was people that were one-on-one with multiple subjects, and they were the master, they were the handler.
It's real.
And these subjects got broken down to where it's like, my reality doesn't exist unless this guy says it does. I mean, the whole point was to break the psyche of the mind. Like it's, how difficult the mind is. How.
Yeah, but people. I know how fragile people can be.
Yeah, but it's fragile, but it's also very robust. It's really complex. There's lots of different things going on to make the mind work the way it does, and you can do things, small things and big things, to influence certain aspects of the mind that don't necessarily take over the whole part. So they did a lot of things to where people will get programmed to be triggered by something. So a word or a phrase or something, and
kind of like
snaps them into a separate.
Hypnosis.
Yeah.
They used
hypnosis was part of it.
Yeah, it was part of it.
It's basically anything you can think of in your psychology that will fuck with the mind. They tried to do it to people.
Yeah. To see the outcome.
It was Project Paperclip. So a lot of the Nazi scientists that were left over from Nuremberg trials that survived it.
Yeah.
They
it
bring
didn't
them
go
over
to
here.
NASA.
Yeah, it's all underground military programs and stuff like that they would take these people and the people that were doing fucked up shit over there to Nazi prisoners came over here, and then we were doing it to our prisoners. But it was okay because it was sanctioned by the U.S.
not
government.
only our prisoners, but we
But
take
the
homeless
American
and kids and
populace.
shit off the street too.
And some of it, especially like the populace, the homeless people and stuff like that, they would give them these psychotropic drugs and not tell them. So that would be pretty fucking terrifying to take a psychedelic drug that makes you hallucinate, auditory hallucinations, visual hallucinations, anything like that, and you don't know, and then just out of nowhere this stuff starts kicking in. So they did a lot of things like that that fucked with people's minds, just to fuck with people's minds. That was kind of the whole point. So this was the Freedom of Information Act that exposed a lot of this. You know, they brought it out and was like, why the hell are you doing this? And they're like, well, everybody's doing it. You know, the Nazis were doing it. Everybody's doing it. So
The Russians.
yeah, everybody was. So there was nothing different compared to what was going on with the world, but for whatever reason, we got exposed, and now it's kind of just thought about like, oh, that's that weird thing the government did. But,
Yeah, but
when
if
you
you-
really look into it, it's
Yeah, if you
fucked. Like,
really
it's
look into
millions
it-
of people.
Not only did it start back then, but look how society has changed now. Look at
Mhm.
all the people that get triggered just by fucking certain words or phrases, and look how
Yeah.
fucked it is compared
Imagine
to
how
ne-
much
like a couple of years
data
ago.
they got over 20 years on how to influence the human mind, and then maybe it got applied to what's going on today.
I wonder if just taking, because a lot of it's based on politics, right? I wonder if
Some of
politics
it.
are
No.
like.
No,
Well, I
not-
mean, a lot
not-
of the people in it are in politics, right? Like the government is in.
It was less politics and more like the military-industrial complex, like the real deep state. Like politics is kind of a game, and you have people that get elected and chosen and whatnot.
Yeah, but
like,
I'm talking like the high ups, so like.
yeah, but like the people that are in it for 40 years, the generals, those were the guys that had control over this shit. So.
And what years was this?
Through the 50s through the 70s is what
Okay.
we were told that it was. So it could have been a little bit before that, could still be going on. But
See,
that's what we were told.
And there's so many projects you can look up that fucking date all the way back to all these projects from MK Ultra.
What's strange is that was right after World War II. So I'm wondering if what we found over there, they just because we were in a race with Russia to get into the middle of Germany. We let them take Berlin, but there's the wall that was between the two sides. I'm wondering what kind of information we got that made the U.S. government, especially after World War II, to start trying to do this to its own people.
Right.
That was like, hey, maybe they were onto something, because especially if they're using German scientists, we're getting all that information. That's now our information because we won in a total war. I'm curious just to see what exactly like we found that made them want to go. We need to do these tests too, because they were doing it on anybody who was in the camps, the concentration camps.
Yeah.
Whether it's the mass ones to kill or the ones for the tests. But we must have got a hold of some information that
we got
made
a
us
hold of
go.
a lot of information.
That where we're like, we need to take this a step further. We
And
need
most
to see.
of it's still classified. Like we have documentation saying, yeah, we released this for FOIA, but there's still all these documents that are classified from Joseph Mengele, the fucking really, really fucked up doctor that did all the weird science experiments on twins and stuff like that over there in Auschwitz. And they confiscated all of his research, and it's all classified still. So
Yeah, so
we
you can
know
imagine
about
what that
MK
states is.
Ultra, but we don't know the details of what happened with the research and the data. So
Like the outcome to MK Ultra.
yeah, and what projects were spawned because
Well,
of
you
MK
said
Ultra.
it's called MK Ultra because the
mind
K.
control.
Yeah, mind control. So like
The German
German
spelling for the word mind
Mind
control, the two word mind control is like I don't know how to pronounce it, but
Mind control. So we're basically talking then about mass mind control. That's the justice.
and you have to think too, if the Germans were doing this stuff, what was the Germans' drive? What was their goals? They were trying to implement a master race, right? Genetically, psychologically, like they wanted a superior human
ideally
being.
a master race, but a pure.
Right. So
A pure
maybe
race
they were
destroying-
doing these genetic experiments on these people, not to make them the master race, but to find out what would work to make Germans the master
See,
race.
I don't think that was the case. Honestly, I think what they were trying to do was learn how to basically enslave the rest of the earth for
It's
the German
possible.
people. So like how to control the rest of everybody else, so the German people could be the master race,
But if you have
enslave the world.
a country, a master race, and everybody is up at this upper level, you don't think that's going to be a problem?
Well, think about this. So, like, the Romans and the Greeks and the Spartans, all of them had war slaves. They were considered the epitome of the genetic mold, and then everybody else underneath them were the slaves. Like Spartans had the
Anybody
Spartan
they
people.
could conquer. Yeah.
Anybody the Spartans, for instance, they had themselves, and they had a whole like 4 times the populace that were considered lesser people, and they were controlled by the Spartans. Like the Spartans were warriors, everybody else did all the work.
Yeah.
So like it's been going through all of history, but they never had complete control. How they would control is like if I have 10 of you, when you run away, the Romans like if one you run away, I'll kill everybody. You know, like the rest of everybody else dies, so I'll kill all my slaves and just start over. So people didn't run because
It didn't really matter.
Fear mongering.
Yeah, basically
Well, everything's based off fear.
So I mean, I can only
Control.
imagine if you can enslave mankind, it would have to be through a series of control. But I mean, you don't need to do that to your people because your people will buy in. You know, like they actually call it buying in when you get people to invest with you. So you just keep them on board and keep them active. When you have your sons and daughters fighting in war, convinced already that
Everybody else is the bad guy.
yeah, and if you oppose anything I say, I send you to these camps too. You'll be mind controlled, so you have just what people will start to believe is that they are the best,
Well, it's
and
nationalism.
everybody else is
It's
and
nationalism
and
for you.
basically
I mean,
as
it
soon as you
really
start
is.
setting borders, that's exactly what starts happening.
Yeah.
So, what's funny, but not it's like these people, but all through history, there's been this kind of concept happening. At least the Romans, the Greeks, the Persians. You have
Anybody who thinks they're in power, they think they're the best of the
well,
best.
this is what
They're-
they've done. They've conquered and then enslaved. You know, like, and people think that slavery was just something that happened here in the United States.
Slavery is a
happening.
part of humanity.
Yeah,
It
it's still
has been
happening to
since
this
the
day.
inception of
To this day,
humanity.
it still
Yeah.
happens in
Anytime we've
Africa.
had a culture or a real society, we've had
Yep.
slavery.
because it's. But now, how do you control them? So to me, this sounds less about controlling the American people. It's fucked up. They're doing it on the American people. It sounds like learning how to control
It's
everybody. I mean,
Well,
essentially.
but
But back
there's a-
then,
there's
that
a
brings you
basis
back
for
to
it.
the
well,
one
I don't know
world
where they're
government.
taking it. Yeah, I don't know
that
where
brings
they're
you back to
taking
the
it.
one world order, though.
Maybe they're
There's
doing
these
it to learn how to
elites.
control the other governments or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, because you
You're
can't
missing the
talk
picture, bud.
about MK Ultra without like involving the Illuminati somehow into
Yeah.
that. Because then you're talking about the higher ups, you're talking about celebrities being mind controlled, you're talking about now you're going into the mass shooters being mind controlled, you're talking about JFK assassination, the whole fucking like
Yeah.
helter skelter everything
I don't know what
is
Helter Skelter is.
Charles Manson.
Oh, I never heard it referred to as.
Helter Skelter? Yeah, that was
Helter
he
Skelter.
like coined that phrase. It's like he wanted chaos. It was just Helter Skelter. That's what he was all about.
Yeah, no. Remember, you guys are on
It was a
different
Grateful
plane.
Dead song, wasn't it?
That's how that's it's like a fucking tree. MK Ultra is the tree, and then all the branches to all this
So
other
usually,
shit.
all the fucked up shit that happened comes from there. Do you think the red flags are a branch off
false
of that?
flags?
The
Yes.
false flags, yeah. Sorry.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
I think
like
it's-
maybe those guys are mind controlled to do this.
Not all of them.
or at least
Some of them are patsies.
cuckoo
So,
teach them what they need to know and
so
then get
here's
around
an
it.
interesting fact. I think all.
Well, fact or opinion?
So interesting from what I remember.
A
I
note?
think all of the school shooters, not mass shooters,
Are on
but
psychedelic
school
drugs.
shooters, psychotropic.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Not psychedelic,
Yeah,
psychotropic.
yeah.
So anything that is like antidepressants or SSRIs,
Like Zoloft and shit
yeah,
like that.
things that fuck with the brain chemistry. A
All
lot
of
of these
them.
psychotropic.
And you
drugs
said
are
that back in
stuff
the
out
day,
there.
this was something that was actually what they did.
This is what they
for the
did.
mind, Yeah.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Using
they
it.
used LSD, cocaine, all kinds of shit. They had brothels.
LSD was the most like widespread, like
Yeah.
notable one because it was kind of like in the middle of the hippie, heyday, the '60s, '70s. Everybody was doing acid, all this other shit, and then in the meantime, CIA was, dosing people with acid to see what the fuck it did to people.
Without their knowledge. They
Yeah.
had prostitutes bringing dudes in, and then they would
Mhm.
spike their fucking drinks
Yep.
and watch it happen in the room through a one-way mirror. Like,
Yeah.
with microphones and everything, just fucking recording everything that happened, doing their test on these subjects that had no idea this was going on. Because the prostitutes were on the CIA payroll.
Yeah,
Interesting.
so I don't know. This is a weird topic to talk about, but like I have no problem disclosing it. But I've done psychedelic drugs, and to be under that influence without the knowledge that you took a substance that's going to make that happen has to be extremely terrifying. I mean, I can't even imagine what that would be like to be dosed and not fucking know, and then just start seeing shit, tripping out, feeling weird stuff, like hearing voices in your head, like. That would be really, really
Auditory
fucking
hallucination,
hard. Yeah,
visual
it would be
hallucination.
really hard to try and make sense of what's happening because your reality is being peeled back and thrown away. and you don't know what's happening. So this is what a lot of people that were
I can
survivors
imagine doing something like that without like understanding
what's going to happen. Just out of nowhere, it's like your vision changes and you feel different and your brain starts talking to you in weird ways that it never has before. And like this was a time when LSD was synthesized in the early 1900s, but it wasn't a drug. It was not a recreational drug. People had not experienced what it did to you until about this point in time, and it had already been going on in the 50s and 60s that they were dosing people. So then when it became popular, it's because people realized that, oh, this drug doesn't do mind control. And that's the biggest failure of MK Ultra, that LSD does not control the mind. If anything, it opens it up and lets people think differently so that they kind of can get a different perspective on things. But like, they did this, and then it's really weird coincidence that right after that we had the hippie phenomenon. You know what I mean? Like psychedelic drugs.
Released it to the masses. Maybe they thought there was
well,
something.
they what I understand is that they had survivors of these incidents that happened, and then they realized what was happening, that they took LSD, and then it became more mainstream. Well, then all these people that were in schools, universities, to learn how to be chemists, that were taking these, drugs for this program, they figure out what the hell's going on, and then they're like, oh, okay. So then they make it, and then
the
they disseminate
government wants me high, man.
Yeah, they disseminate it to the masses because they realized what it actually did versus what they wanted the government to do, So Orange Sunshine, I think it was called Orange Sunshine, was a strain of LSD that was put out by two guys that they manufactured millions and millions of doses of LSD, and they just handed it out for free.
That's
selling
crazy.
it, because they wanted the people to have access to this stuff. But when it started, the government was like, I bet we can use this to fuck the mind over, And I'm sure in instances like that where people don't know that they're being dosed, or if you have inputs
Talk
like
about
while
a bad
they're
trip.
if they're having a bad trip and you have inputs that are like, hey, you can really fuck with the mind by what you
Maybe
put
at that
into
point in
it.
time too, if
By
you
what
put
you
it
put
under
into it.
stress,
It
you
is
can
under
really.
stress,
Well, I
yeah.
mean, so you add that, and then you do a sensory overload, and then at that point in time, you break a mind.
Yeah.
Once you get because
Well,
I don't know if you know what that stuff does.
Yes.
Like, have you seen pictures? Like, it takes the brain and it like
Yes.
puts it on
Lights it up
turbo,
like
like a Christmas fucking tree.
All these
of a sudden.
connections start happening that normally don't.
Yeah.
Different hemispheres of the brain talk to
They're
each other.
operating
that don't.
separately and differently. So now your brain's on overdrive,
Yeah.
and it's not hard to get people to get sensory overwhelmed. And
I can imagine.
And
yeah,
that was one of their tests. They talked about sensory overload.
Yeah,
They talked
they
about
would weigh people down with blankets. They would do near drownings. They would put them in cold and hot. Like they did
sensory
basically
depression,
everything to fucking break people.
They even use like electromagnetic waves and shit to fuck
So
with mind.
imagine that stuff on a psychotropic.
Yeah.
Like how overwhelming that would be. Like
exactly.
You could actually break. I can imagine that you could actually break somebody twice as quick.
And that's why I have a problem with this, because while all this stuff's happening inside the mind, which is really hard to get a grasp on what's happening in somebody else's mind,
You just
and
off.
some guy's just sitting there on a fucking, writing stuff down on a piece of paper, just taking notes, just jotting it down like it's another experiment that doesn't matter. Fuck that guy, it's just he's
like
a
I
rat.
said, it's
He's a
the
rat
brain.
in
The
the
brain is
fucking-
sensitive, but I mean, people can be mentally strong. Well, you put them on something like that and keep it on.
Yeah.
Like you keep dosing it.
I
Or
guarantee
maybe
you,
break
it'll
it.
break you.
Yeah. So they have the brain's running in hyperdrive, and then you're running them through these tests that's to break it.
A
I
physical
guarantee it could
sensory.
actually.
Oh yeah.
You could do that.
And
Like
that-
I believe that.
And that's where like this conspiracy with the mass shooters comes up, because they all talk about hearing voices. They all talk about fucking this shit's being said. Like you look at the son of Sam. He said that the dog talked to him and told him to fucking kill
Son
people.
of Sam.
Yeah, the son of Sam. Never seen that either.
Mm.
Oh god.
Who's the son of Sam?
Is this killer back in the fucking, what was it, like the 80s, 70s, 80s? I don't have the time.
Somewhere in there.
Yeah, but he used to go around fucking killing people, and he said that the devil made him do it. That the neighbor's dog talked to him and told him to kill people. But then you look at fucking, like we were saying, all these other shooters, they're on these drugs. They're talking about hearing voices. You even have a few of them saying that there was men in black or like military guys following them around with like fucking little wave guns, telling them to do shit in their minds. The Virginia Tech shooter, I don't think it was Virginia Tech. Which one was it? The military base in Virginia. Maybe it was Fort Hood. Was it Fort Hood?
Yeah.
Okay, so that guy even typed or like scratched on his fucking rifle when he went in and shot all these people. This is my ELF weapon. ELF low electromagnetic waves or whatever the fuck from the guns that they have patents for that they used in MK Ultra to fuck with these people's minds from far distances using it's called like skull penetration or whatever, using the waves.
The CIA has admitted to a heart attack gun, by the way, too. Just so you know.
Yeah.
They can point it at you and give you a heart attack.
Yeah, so basically this gun, they type whatever they want it to say in there, they point it at you, and only the waves will contact you because you're on those
Well,
fucking
think about
drugs.
that. So sound is a wave.
Right.
The only reason we hear
it.
sound is because there's waves bouncing off our eardrum. So you take this fucking machine, and it's at the right frequency so that nobody else can hear it, kind of like a dog whistle. But once it hits your head, it can fucking resonate, and, you know, you can hear what the waves are saying.
Well, I mean, you'd have to get really directional with it, like
Yeah.
like
But
a
when you got a
cone-based
guy
thing.
that's 10.
Well, now they have
No,
stuff
you
for
don't need a cone. They have one that's a big fucking square.
Well, I mean, you need to make it directional because everybody in that
Oh.
direction would hear it. Like,
Yeah.
because like they
But
have
that's
those
why
things
they had,
now.
That's
so
why
then-
they had handlers. They had people following around these people that were slaves, and then they would, you know, make sure they're doing what they need to be doing.
in the military now they actually use sound to debilitate
Deter.
people.
Yeah, the
to-
LRADs.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so basically they just put a big thing and it just
Yeah.
sends
And it just sends sound waves.
it amplifies.
Dude, that
and
thing
sends
is
sound
so
waves.
fucking loud. Have you heard it?
Mm-mm.
Dude, they set that thing off and it's like blah 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 blah, and all these people just start dropping and shit.
Well, it's the
'cause so
crippling.
fucking
It's,
loud.
it's so painful.
So
that
fucking
it
The
loud.
stops
ears
you.
are
It's what better way when you have mass protests, tens of thousands of people pissed off at what's going on. You can take that thing and go.
I
the fuck up.
actually like that a little bit more than shooting them though, because back then back
Yeah.
then it was a little
But-
different ball game.
But to an extent,
Crowd control, bro.
So here's
Look,
the
like
here's
think
the
about
thought.
Oregon. What if they
Okay.
actually take off?
Right.
Like all those fucking
So
leftists.
here's the thought. Here's the fucking 1984 for you. What if the state shit hits the fan, government gets that bad? Every government building is surrounded by those fucking things. You
It would
can't
be hard to
protest,
take
you
out
can't-
though.
Huh?
No, you start blowing shit up, man. You get people. That's why who's
No,
this?
baby,
Who's this new
man.
fuck that wants to take our guns away?
Oh, Beto,
fucking Beto.
Beto, yeah, Beto.
pedo.
Bro, I sent it to you. I'm gonna read this real quick.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
Fucking ass
Fuck
clunky.
that guy.
Yeah, I hope people are smart enough
That guy's
to
a
stay
fucking
away from him.
Cross-dressing sissy that pisses his pants.
Of course, we
Yeah,
have
look
nothing
into
against.
that one.
Of course, we have nothing against cross-dressing sissies that
Yeah.
piss their pants.
Just the
Until-
ones that want to take our guns.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just
just
the ones that
so-
want to take our guns.
Yeah, there's a line, and
Yep.
the sissy part's okay.
But he doesn't
cross-dressing's
fucking-
okay. Taking our guns, you've crossed the line.
See?
He doesn't say anything about, when he was fucking busted for burglary or fucking DUI. running
Yeah, I've read
into
all
people
that
and shit.
stuff. So
Ass
a lot of people don't even care about that. But
No,
this
they
this
don't.
right here says this guy sent him a message. Just says when you say we are going to take your AR-15s, do you mean that you're going to be there, or are you going to send someone else with a fully auto AR-15 to get it, like a little bitch asking for a friend?
That's hilarious.
Well, that's true, and that's what's so ironic about it. Is like all these people that are like, oh, we need to take the guns. It's like, how are you going to take the guns? You take the guns by force of gun.
Yeah.
You don't
Yeah, see,
see the irony in that. Like,
and that extends into the MK Ultra because look at what they're doing. It's propaganda, programming. Oh, gun control, mass shootings, gun control. Be in fear of guns, over and over and over again. And who was it? Hitler that said, "Tell a lie, but tell it over and over, and
tell
it
a
becomes
lie
true."
enough times and it becomes the truth.
Yeah. So it's fucking.
That's the
mind
same thing
control.
with history. History is written by the victors.
Yeah. Well, it's true for the most part. I mean, nowadays
there's
it's
some
a little
things you can't
different.
deny,
yeah.
but yeah, it's,
What's interesting is that this is a government control thing,
absolutely, yeah.
and
they
the
fessed up to it.
ultimate control of the American people is gun.
Well,
Take away the weapons.
honestly, the ultimate control of the American people would be their mind.
Yeah,
and
but
they tried that.
it's
and it
so
didn't
far.
work.
I mean, that's not something. It's harder to do than I think. Right now it's just dumbing down the new generation.
know.
If you start young
I think
enough.
it's working. I think it's working.
Mind control.
I think it's working.
Yeah.
So you have the public schools that are free.
Yeah, that's what exactly
Yeah,
I said.
so
though.
it's free to make sure you get the government sanctioned indoctrination, and then make sure you go get that job with the Gator insurance, and then make sure you pay your taxes, do all this stuff, and it's like then you're a good citizen, but only if you follow these strict set of rules that we prescribe for you. If you try and think outside the box or live off grid or don't take your kids to school or try and treat your own cancer
You're gonna
or
like
any
this.
of this shit,
So
we're gonna throw you in a cage.
I was watching. It's a video game, and this is relevant, and it's called Escape. So the idea is that your whole objective is escape from a prison.
Mhm.
Well, somebody did it to where it was Manhattan, and the objective was to live there long enough to escape. Well, it's like, the only benefits of escaping prison is what?
Freedom.
Okay, I'm glad you said that
Yeah,
one.
because you have three
Maybe
hots and a cot, and the meal's
conjugal
taken
visit.
care of for you. All that.
So in prison, you go to work, you wake up, you go to work, you get done with your day. As long as you're not breaking your rules, you get to have some recreational time. You go to bed, you start over.
Yeah.
There's law enforcement officers there to enforce the rules to make sure nothing gets broken. They're really just there for crowd control and to enforce rules. If you get in trouble, you get a ticket, you go back to your bunk, you get disciplinary action. I was thinking about it, and it's like, you know what? The exact same thing when you're released, everything's the same.
When you're in society.
Yeah, in society, it's the exact same thing. You wake up, you go to work, you try not to break any rules, you go have some recreational time, you go home, go to bed.
Yep.
The only difference is they have a curfew, but then again, a lot of places have a curfew. Okay, all right, well, what is the ultimate difference is the fact you get to have a tribe with you, like just a little home gang where you have people living. But I mean, ultimately, the idea is control.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
in every aspect of your life, from the time a human being is born till the time they die, if they live a full life, work a good job, go to school, all that stuff, they'll pay millions of dollars in taxes.
well,
So
it breaks down to what if the retirement age right now is 75 and the average age to live to is 80. I mean, you get 5 years to not
God
pay.
damn,
of
that's
good
sucks.
life. But you're still paying taxes to the day you die.
Oh yeah, they're taking
if
it
your
from your Social
car's
Security.
paid for, you still have to pay taxes on that every year.
Yeah, your
If your
home,
house is paid for,
yep,
you still have to
property
pay taxes
tax.
on that every year.
Well, you have. I mean,
If
you have
you
all the other
want it.
taxes, but still, let's say you should get your Social Security. They tax your Social Security.
Yeah.
If you get a pension, you get taxed to your pension.
Well, okay. Well, so what a lot of people don't realize is your Social Security number is nothing but a fucking concentration camp number. That's all it is. Keep track of you and everything.
Well,
you
a
do.
concentration camp number is a little different
Well,
than a Social
you know what I mean. It's the same thing. You're still tracked.
It's
by
a
the
number. It's a number that watches basically any big purchases, the things you go
Anything.
through. Yeah, it's
Anything.
it's just a tracking.
So you're
number.
not a free
I've-
person at all.
I think Social Security should be abolished, or it should be optional. I should have the option to opt out.
Well,
Social
originally,
Security.
I believe originally the idea was laid out that and because Social Security, there's two different terms when you think of Social Security. First off is
I
our
think
Social
it's
Security
socialism.
number.
That's all I
Well,
think about.
you have your Social Security number. The second one too is like we put into social. For our older generation, the idea is we pay each generation pays for the next generation. You put in your whole life, and then, you know, your check, your social, it's your Social Security check. But the Social Security number, yeah, it was originally put in as just it was optional originally, and then it just became more laws and laws.
But now you don't have the option. You cannot opt out of Social Security
Did
unless
anybody?
you don't work.
Did any of your parents have a Social Security number?
Yes, our parents
yours?
aren't that old.
Mine, my dad didn't. For the longest time.
Really?
Yep.
Well,
Until
he-
he had to renew his license, then they made him get one.
I think your dad's a little older though.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had you when he was older, so, or younger, or I don't know. Your dad's old. He is.
Right.
Yeah, I mean they're like my grandparents did, but they're
That's
both
weird.
born, yeah, both of them.
Yeah.
So I've seen that.
And the whole guise of what Social Security is supposed to be, it's a fraud.
Yeah, it's just
It's not what it's not used. The fund is not used the way it's supposed to be.
no.
They say that the Social Security fund is broke, but it's only broke because
They're pulling
using
from it for something else.
things that
Yeah.
it's not supposed to be used
So let's go back real quick. So MK Ultra, you think it's still used to this day?
Yes.
for. Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Just in different terms.
so I maybe TV, radio,
Definitely TV.
Definitely TV, yeah.
commercials,
Yeah,
Video
programming
games.
like a motherfucker. Yep.
media,
Yes.
like news,
Yes.
Yep. Politics.
Facebook,
Mhm.
Instagram.
Facebook was
Instagram, it's
Facebook was
Twitter.
developed by DARPA. So.
He doesn't know what that is either.
You know what DARPA is?
No, I know.
DARPA is like the Black Hawk helicopter of the military industrial complex. They're the guys that get all the black contracts, the super stealth stuff. They're the ones that did that supersonic triangle that can hit anywhere on the planet within like 2 hours.
Never heard of that.
Really?
As an airplane?
Yeah, it's an unmanned
Damn.
vehicle. It's a drone basically, and it's shaped like a triangle, and it hits like Mach 7, and yeah, it can be anywhere on the planet in 2 hours, and it can drop a payload too.
It's
So-
the SR.
no, it's not the
Not that one?
SR-71.
No?
No. This
No,
is
not that
unmanned.
one. Not that one. Not that one.
Oh, I don't know what it's called, but
The TR-3B Flying Triangle.
something like that.
Yeah, I don't know. You guys get to show me. We need to show me a picture.
It's just a black triangle. It's really all it looks like. It's really weird.
Yeah, show me a picture. We'll take a look at that again.
But yeah, I do think MK Ultra is definitely present in our
Just in a different way.
modern world. Yeah, totally.
They pretty much know what they need to know
just,
now. It's
they
just
just
application.
don't call it MK Ultra
Do you,
anymore. They
do you
just
think
call
it's
it
more
something else.
application, or you think it's still research?
Both.
The research and application.
Yeah, I don't think the research ever stops. It's because they apply one thing and then they keep researching, and then they apply another thing and they keep researching.
So they just for those.
Go up.
I've shown it on the YouTube. Now I'm taking a look at it. So for those that don't, it looks like the top of it looks like a cockpit, like a spaceship. The bottom of it looks like a alien
Yeah,
shit.
a lot of actually
UFO
a lot of
sightings
UFO
is that
sightings are
thing.
because of that fucking thing.
Yeah, almost all
triangles.
UFO sightings are.
Yeah, it really does look like what your stereotypical like not UFO because a UFO is
It's
circular,
like round.
but
and
this is a
shiny,
triangle
but-
with the 3 dots on it, almost like what you saw back in Phoenix when they did those Phoenix
The Phoenix Lights.
Yeah.
the Phoenix lights. Yeah,
Mhm.
Except that thing doesn't hover. That thing fucking moves, and really fast.
yeah. Actually, they have this on here. Skies light up in Arizona, but it's a little bit different design. I'm gonna show this real quick on the. You guys just go to the YouTube channel too. Look at it too. So you see the triangle, or it's like a V, upside down V.
Yeah.
Ducks fly together.
It's a boomerang, bro.
It's a boom. Yeah, it's like a flying boomerang, but the other one's like a triangle with 3 different lights on the bottom.
You should see it use the waves to shoot shit. They have videos of it used in Iraq. It's fucking intense.
Really?
Yeah.
And it's video waves, or
It's electromagnetic waves. Yeah, just a big pulse. Fucking gone, bro. It's nuts.
Yeah, I've never seen anything on it.
Conventional weapons, I think, are pretty much out the window. We're still using them to get rid of them, I think, but I think we're much past that.
Yeah, everything's
Here
lasers
shortly.
and fucking sound waves
Within
now.
50 years, I think warfare is gonna be very different. It's gonna be less full scale, like firebomb and like I'm gonna fucking kill people and anything that's living in that area, but I'm not gonna disturb, the surrounding area, the damage the structures and all that stuff.
You
I
think
think
it'd be very
warfare is gonna
precise.
be against life. I think that's what warfare is gonna morph into.
Well, it
It's like,
already
what
is.
good is it to go destroy a whole fucking country and then rebuild the goddamn thing for the people that actually survived it?
Oh,
You know
I
what
see
mean?
what you mean.
Costs more
Like,
money.
So like,
okay.
just go through, wipe out the people, and then we still have.
Well, here's
structures
something to
left,
think about:
you know?
is warfare is already about life.
Yeah.
It's just about destruction of the enemy.
Yeah,
Whoever
but we
stands in
don't.
front of
But
you.
we're trying to limit the collateral damage. So we
That's-
just want
that's
to kill
no-
the people. We just want to kill the people. They're the ones causing the problems. It's not all the other shit that's around.
Yeah.
Especially in like door to door, like through the neighborhoods and stuff, like urban warfare. Why would you want to fucking destroy apartment buildings and stuff when you just want to wipe out the people that are inside?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
well,
could
I mean,
have
that makes
pulsed.
sense.
If you could have pulsed, electromagnetic weapons, why not? Something that'll disrupt the brain.
What was that
or
fucking? There was a
heart,
movie that
whatever.
had that. There was a gun that shot through the fucking walls with electromagnetic waves. There was a movie. It was an old ass movie. Had Arnold Schwarzenegger in it. I think it was called like The Sixth Day or some shit.
The 6th Day, I believe. Wait, no.
I'll
Sixth
find
Day, I
it.
thought that was like a religious one, where like he's the 6th day is about like the devil coming to Earth or something like that.
I don't remember. It was something along that lines.
I'll
but
pull up the movies he's in. So
I'll fucking find it for sure.
That's what I see warfare morphing into, though, because it's expensive. It's expensive to go fucking firebomb people and then rebuild all the rubble and like all that shit. It costs a lot of money.
yeah, like the
Why not
hearts
just
and
kill the
mind.
people?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's kind of the idea behind warfare right now is the most damage without collateral.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like I said, MK Ultra, I just don't. I mean,
I don't know. I would like to know, and I don't think we ever will, obviously, but like, what was the real purpose? I mean, why go to such extreme length to break the human psyche?
you can.
to just go, we weren't trying to control people. We're just trying to see what happens. You know
what
I
if
mean?
it was for counter control?
Control everybody but the people that are in America?
Well, think about
Americans
for
are
attacked again.
fucking
So let's say
ignorant as fuck.
Germany
We
had
think
gone
we're
through
the
it.
freest country in the world. We're the ones causing a lot of problems. I mean, look at the shit that's happening in Hong Kong. All those Hong Kong protesters, they're screaming, they're waving the American flag. You know why? It's because we have CIA operatives over there right now going, hey, go do this
No,
protest.
not
Yeah,
just
yeah,
that.
yes, yes, yes.
No, because
we're fighting
no,
China
you-
through
that's
these trade
remember.
wars. We're fighting China through these
But
trade
that was,
wars.
but this has been going on since World War II. So you have to understand, a lot of that area was
Correct.
destabilized due to Japan.
A lot of that area is destabilized due to America.
No, Japan destabilized it. It was all running off. It was actually before it was America, before it was Japan. It was the European countries that were going over there and they colonized a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
So this
But
is
once they had control of it, it was fine. It's when we said we don't want you to have control of it anymore, and we go over there. And
we didn't say it. They
regime
gave it
change
to
rules.
us. They gave it to us because they want Germany to take them out. So the reason we entered World War II is because we got offered all of the technology that Germany that Great Britain had left. We got sonar, radar, like all that stuff. They told us they'd give us colonies. They basically gave us anything that we could ever want to help them, to prevent them from losing the war, because they knew what happened if Germany won.
Correct.
So what
But
we
there's
did,
also things
but so
like,
they gave us that stuff. But when we went over there to fight Japan, Japan destabilized the entire government. It was basically who's going to step in and be the next force. Well, the fear of communism, because of China was a big communist state at the time, they were pushing through and they're like, we're going to take over everything.
Yeah.
So a lot of the
which
power
they're trying
struggles,
now.
well, like they were pro-America. They didn't want to go back to
Japan
China.
was.
Japan was not. They were all about killing us. The only reason why they agreed to surrender is because we started nuking the fuck out of them.
Okay.
We nuked them twice within 3 days.
Yeah.
When we threatened, we'll tear down your whole country. Not only that, Russia was pushing in. They were in Mongolia, and Russia was pushing down to Japan too. So they decided the empire. They decided they were going to surrender. So Japan's a whole thing, but Taiwan was a part of China, but they had cut off. But all of that area, Laos, Vietnam, Korea, Cambodia, the Philippines, all that stuff, minus the Philippines, because we already actually had soldiers and stuff there. That was our territory.
Right.
All that stuff was destabilized. They were actually like more backwards ass countries that just had the French, mainly the French in there. And then Japan came in, beat the dog fuck out of all of them, and then left.
Yeah.
So they were destabilized governments, and then
power
there's-
vacuum.
yeah, basically, yeah. So it was basically like, who are you gonna go with? So we decided to back a lot of those countries. So that wasn't a forceful thing.
Right.
But because Great Britain, France, Germany, Spain, all these major powers of the day, they were all now knocked down a notch. And who are we gonna let it go to? Russia and China. So what happened was like we became the world police at that point in time because everybody else was picking up the rebels. They were destroyed by Germany. You know, they were trying to just rebuild their own countries. We weren't really touched, ideally, through World War II. So it was basically like, we'll help
Not
these
until Pearl
countries.
Harbor happened,
Yeah, and even then, that was mild
was-
compared
yeah.
to the rest of Europe.
Exactly.
They were
That wasn't
just-
mainland.
Yeah, in Russia and Europe and Ukraine and like all these other countries were demolished. I mean, like
Just
Germany.
bombing runs. Yeah, they were just bombing the
Just
fuck out of
mass
everybody.
killings. I mean, that's where all the wars were fought. We had, everywhere in northern Africa. And I mean, it was a
Well,
world
it's just
war.
Germany trying to expand. Their
Yeah,
empire,
exactly.
Right? They were just going out.
Germany and Italy, and I mean, you have Japan on that side. Well, so when we stepped in, it was more like somebody has to step up and prevent the communists from spreading their idealism and the hatred for America at the time. So like that's when we became the world police state. But a lot of the places they pay us for our military to be there.
Most places
They
do.
want us there. Yeah.
Even now.
Well, it's because at the time we never.
Israel.
Yeah, well, Israel too. Well, Israel, they're a whole little different beast. They're surrounded by people who want to see them wiped off the face of the earth.
I wonder why.
Well, I mean, a lot of it is different ideals. So I don't know if you know
Benjamin
this.
Netanyahu is a fucking war hawk. That dude does
Yeah,
everything he can to fucking kill as many
well,
people that are not
You have to
Israelis
understand
as possible.
their mindset over there is different than it is for us. They are brought into a country that it's mandatory for everybody to fight.
Yeah.
They are literally surrounded. They fought 3 countries at once in war, like and beat all 3 of them. The idea is that they're surrounded by people who hate them. There's no contest of like it's like, hey, but you have to understand in the what's the Muslim Bible? The Quran. If they take territory, so let's say Arizona was their territory,
Right,
and
they can't let it go.
They cannot let it go. They
no.
can never let it go.
Right.
The idea is they have to take it back, and that's
why the wars over there
caliphate.
will never fucking stop.
It's a caliphate because once they're there, they can't be removed. Well, they've been removed, so they will not stop until Israel is flattened. So extremist ideals, and that's what we felt that Russia and China was extremist ideals. So we just tried to stop the spread of that, and that's why we went. That's why the Korean War was fought. That's why.
Yeah, but that's the problem I have though. Is like we have all these extremist ideals are not good. So our ideals are fine. We just go implement ours.
Well,
we have mass consumerism and all
so,
that shit now. So why
not
is
saying
that
that
ideal
that's
different?
Well,
you
the
know?
difference is they were killing their populace in millions. So before Russia was an ally of Japan, of Germany, and Germany turned on Russia.
Is it better to let those people die or to have
Bro.
millions in poverty and starvation?
So I'd rather have millions of poverty and starvation than murdering the whole masses
It's
because
still-
they were murdering
they're
everybody.
Still dying anyways.
Well, I mean,
but
get
they have to
this.
suffer in
Well,
front. of
that's why
famine and
communism
disease.
doesn't work. So communism and now it's socialism. It doesn't work.
Well, none of
Didn't
those,
work back then.
None of those ideals work because it's all based on control. It is a very small
Right.
group of people trying to control a very big group of people.
Government seems to
And
tend to want to
that's-
do that, but those are outwards about that. I mean,
Right, that's what the whole ideal
So
is.
we didn't
yeah.
want that spread because what would end up happening is if we let it spread, they would eventually turn on us and be like, because conflicting ideals, whether it's government, religion, or any of that, it's going to cause war.
Yeah.
So the more people we can have on our side. So like I said, we became a police state because the spread of that would have caused more world wars.
But look at the state we're in now. Because of the police
I mean,
state and
we
how
still
far
have-
we've taken
so
it,
I have had people that
are
travel-
going the other side.
I know. I've had people try. Yeah, I know. Because
It's getting extreme the other way.
I think
you know?
the
It's
more
hard.
kosher your life is, without, especially these guys don't even work. The ones that are like, we need to make sure that everybody has a chance, man.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like
yeah.
But so maybe there is mind control there. Maybe there's something more to it. But a lot of it, like there's a purpose. So if you study the war again, World War I and World War II, for instance,
you're much more studied on this.
Yeah, like a lot of the things that are
trying to be.
Yeah, a lot of the things that happen of today are a reflection still of World War II.
Oh, absolutely.
And
that
there's still
ripple's
things.
Still going on.
It was massive. So a lot of people don't realize like.
Well, how many people died during those
Gosh,
World
it
Wars?
was like
millions
and millions
60,
and millions,
70, 80 million
We're
people.
talking more civilians than military
soldiers.
people.
Yeah, exactly.
And if we look at who really paid the big costs, I mean, Japan. So how Germany was to the Jews, Japan was to China. They would surround cities of 170,000 and kill everybody inside. Yeah. Everybody. 170,000 people to a million people, and they'd murder. They released floodgates that took out cities after cities after cities. They literally was a genocide.
But they were only able to do that through the actions of the state of Japan.
Oh, it was
a country.
So
like,
you know why? You
it
understand?
was indoctrination. It was mind control. It was telling people that
they
we have to go fight this.
They worshipped the empire, right? The emperor.
Right.
So the emperor of the empire.
He's treated as a god almost,
okay,
like
so
a deity.
There was a point in time where America, this is fault to us. We forced them to trade with us. We showed up with the boat, and before, if anybody showed up in their lands, they'd kill them. Like, we'll be back in a year, and when we're back, we're going to bring an entire military with us. If you don't trade with us, if you don't open up to the world, then we will fight you. So what happened was they opened up to trade. They're like, okay, well, we don't want that kind of conflict.
They're a tiny nation.
They are, and we were superior in firepower and stuff. We just brought things to the table they'd never seen before.
Yeah.
So when we came back, they opened it up. Well, the emperor was so impressed with like how things were in like a modern world. He started revolutionizing his society. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So he started kind of bringing it to the
so
upfront.
Draconian.
Yeah, because they were ass backwards compared to us at that point in time, and he thought it was fancy and cool.
That's a product of your geology. You're isolated on this little island away from the rest of the cultures of the world.
What that did is it destroyed their social network.
Want to be?
Well, it destroyed their social network. So all of a sudden, samurais were no longer needed because you could train a modern man to point a rifle and shoot.
Right.
This caused a lot of conflict between the emperor, the upper class, and now the lower class, which was the samurai, where they were always upper class citizens, a warrior for their emperor or their leader, depending on where they were.
Family, whatever.
Yeah, so that's the culture. They were warriors, and all of a sudden they no longer they had like they were no longer a purpose. So what they did, they started fighting the government. Mm-hmm. They're like, this isn't okay. We're losing our social structure. We were an elite, now we're no longer elite. So they started fighting them. Well, with the modern combat versus swords and stuff, they started killing them all off in drones. Well, by the time they almost all were killed off, the emperor was like, man, we just lost a big part of our history.
Yeah.
Like this is massive. So let's adopt their mindset. The mindset that like emperor first, like no dishonor, military over anything. They adopted that warrior mindset as
Japan
a country.
Now.
Yeah, well, that's how they did then. Now they're a lot softer.
Oh, they're more tech based now.
Yeah, well, they can't even have a military. Like a lot of them fighting, they just raised one to fight terrorism of 50,000 men. And their country's going ape shit right now. There's a big protest over it because they're like, we don't need a military. Look what happened. And the old guys are like, listen, it's good to have something to, and they're like, we can believe in, we have every, like, we don't want this. They want to just consider on the economic state. Well, anyway, they adopted that mindset of the samurai. And if you look at the battles of World War II, all of them was like bonsai charges. Everything they did was based on the samurai beliefs and ways. Was that there's this dishonor. They would build themselves up with grenades because dishonor. They took that into China, into the Philippines. As people surrendered to the Bataan Death March, murdering people just because they were lesser than human beings. They were lesser than life because they're nothing. Like these men are surrendering. That's dishonor. Mm-hmm. So that's why they were so brutal. They were more brutal than any other. Like Russia killed their own people. They captured Germans. Like they captured one time 700,000 Germans. 5,000 came back. Like as soon as they just be really bad to them. Japan was like on steroids when it came to that. So like. There's a lot that the government can do and like to get the people to rally behind them, but like World War II redefined who we had to be because we had to make sure that never happened again. And that's when the UN started stepping into place, because whether you believe in their intentions are good or not, they're like, we have to stop this mass genocide from happening again, because it was happening in Germany, it was happening in Russia, happening in China, happening in Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia, the Philippines. Like this is happening in a mass scale, and we're like, we need to make sure that like this radical ideal doesn't happen again. The true war that we fought was World War II. Mm-hmm. Of course, Russia won it because they held back the Germans and depleted the Germans and their supplies all the way to the point where we're like, okay, now we're ready. The war was already starting being pushed back. Russia was already pushing
And
Germany
that's
back
why
by the time we
people
jumped
have
in.
a lot of problems with when we say, "Oh, fucking, we win
Well,
World War II." It's like we
if
didn't
you ask a
do
kid
majority
how
of
many
the
wars
fighting.
have we as America lost, they'll say no, America's the best.
Yeah.
That's kind of how they're taught. But the idea is
Because
we
it's
have.
indoctrinated.
Well, and then they start learning that that's not true because even now, like if you look anywhere, we didn't technically lose Vietnam. We didn't technically lose Korea. Korea it just became to a standoff basically. We're like, you guys stay on that side, we'll stay on this side. We won't kill each other right now. Vietnam, basically what happened was the people were like, fuck you, we don't want to be there no more. And they're like, okay, well if we don't be there anymore, we're just going to let them take over. So China came in and helped Vietnam become a communist country. So a lot of it was just, we won every battle. We didn't lose a single battle, but the war just was not in the hearts and minds of the people. So they're just like, all right, we're backing out. So we backed down and let a lot of people die doing that. It's just kind of crazy. Like all that stuff is kind of crazy, but I can see there's correlation between again the past and now, but that massive aspect of control is usually never towards the people. It's towards the other governments to control the people. Because if you think about it, and Hobson said it best that basically the government's God. Like they're the god of their people. They control their people. You already are controlled by the government, whether you like to believe it or not. Maybe not mind control, but we are controlled by it.
Yes.
That is the
every aspect.
but the idea is
every aspect.
we let that happen though. We let it vote into place.
But
We do that stuff.
We're not complicit in a lot of the shit that took place 100 years ago that we had no say in, and
Right.
now we're forced into these contracts that we have no say in.
Yeah, well, I mean, and that's where
Being a citizen, I have
local
to pay
voting,
my
the
taxes.
local laws. I mean, and it is making a difference. So, like, the government was anti. I don't say weed because
Cannabis.
was anti-cannabis beforehand, but now that people are starting to vote into play, it can have its roles. Like we do have a say, but it has to be united as one.
Yeah, but look how much they're
Look
going
how
to tax
long-
the
what-
shit
look how
out of
long
you.
it's taken.
That's not the key. The taxing part is just them trying to stop it all from happening because it's scary. Like, don't worry, we'll tax it. We'll make sure that everybody gets money from it. It's not the taxing; it's the division.
It's not scary though. That's what.
The only reason it's legal is because they can make money off of it.
Well,
Yeah.
it's because they can make money, but it's also because they can't stop it.
Well, because the drug war has
So-
done nothing.
Well, the war on
There
drugs.
wasn't no drug war to begin
Yeah,
with.
the
it's a
war
war
on
on
the
people,
ideal of
yeah.
drugs. But what's going on is people are starting to unite under an idea. You take away the idea that gets forgotten. You let it pass through. You let it come through. So okay, we can divide them in other ways.
What was that war that? Fuck, I can't remember. I was told a long time ago that they used to feed the fucking soldiers like cocaine or something.
So in
Oh,
World
that
War
was Nazis. They were on
Nazis, they give
amphetamines.
meth.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay.
Meth
so
was actually kind of engineered by the Germans.
Yeah.
And they would keep them up because you have one soldier can fight for fucking 5 weeks, right? It's like, "Oh, this stuff is great, So they put them on meth. 'cause-
Okay, yeah.
And honestly, amphetamines really aren't horrible for you if they're dosed appropriately. They're still bad. They still do really bad things to the body, but
Fighter pilots
high doses for
have something
long-term.
very similar. They take something before they get in their fighter jets that's very similar to methamphetamine.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
American.
American fighter
Yeah,
pilots.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Because
if
it
you look it up.
stimulates the mind, it gets the heart rate up, keeps you from passing out in high G
Ultimate-
forces. It
Ultimate
Yeah.
fucking. I mean, you're in
Oh,
you're in a multi-million-dollar machine that
Yeah,
you're
they
going.
can't have
You're
you passing
operating
out
at
and shit.
high
Yeah.
speeds and stuff. Well, they have good training for that too, how to deal with G-force.
Yeah.
But that
But
stuff
the
just
human
keeps
body
the brain
can
going.
only take so much,
Yeah.
no matter how much training you've been through. And all that.
Methamphetamine, man, it makes your body a supercomputer, basically.
Yeah.
You're the supercomputer inside the war machine.
Yeah, I was unaware who it was.
The
That's why I asked.
problem with meth as a drug is you don't know your doses, you don't know where the fuck it's coming from, and it's always stepped on with fucking weird shit.
Yeah, they put
So,
like gasoline
like
and stuff in it.
methamphetamine as a substance is
Wall
pretty
paint.
toxic, but like it does really cool things in the body. But like when people use it
It's
as a
really bad
recreational
things
drug,
to do.
yeah, when people use it as a recreational drug and it was cooked in a bathtub in a fucking motorhome,
They're all
you know,
out in
like,
the middle of
it's-
the fucking street, like.
Yeah, that's not good. That's not
Going
good.
nuts.
But
But the Nazis knew what the fuck they were doing, and they dosed appropriately, and they fucking,
Well, I mean,
look at what happened.
that's
Look at
crazy.
the fucking soldiers.
they brought it over too. Well, I
they
mean,
were brutes.
they were-
big
so,
dudes.
you know
they were
why-
genetically big. They were fucking.
you know why they used the scientists of Germany?
Because they were smarter than fucking. They knew how to.
A lot of them were
manipulate the
very
body.
intelligent, so they had a
Very
lot of the
well.
colleges there beforehand. So like a lot of people studied from one college to another, but a lot of them were in Germany. Albert Einstein was one of them.
Yep.
What they did is they put a lot of time and energy into teaching these guys how to be efficient. Like they want war machines. So all these guys have this knowledge. So like we give them pardons. We were still, when we went into World War I or World War II, we still had they had fucking jet engine aircraft we were still using propellers.
Mm-hmm.
We couldn't keep up with them. They were fucking on a different level until we captured their technology, deconstructed it, and built it another way, trying to be reverse it. Before that, they were on a different level of killing. Their tanks were on a different level. Their aircraft were on a different level. Their machine guns were on a different level. We were still using bolt-action rifles when they were using machine guns.
Yep.
I mean, machine guns were around, but most units, if
they weren't mass produced.
No, the American people were still like we're training World War I on horseback. They still had cavalry. Yep. We were training cavalry for World War II.
And they had jet engine.
Yeah.
So
dude. Yeah.
So
Germans were on another fucking level, and that's where the conspiracy comes through with like aliens.
Yeah, the UFOs and shit.
Esoteric
because they really did.
From,
we wanted that information because you're now more efficient killing force. If we have to go to war, we want to win because we saw the repercussions for when people lose. I mean, they were killing people in the millions just because they could, you know. So I don't know, the control of the government. I can see a want for it on their part. Because ultimate power, people in power want more power. That's just the reality. And I like that some people are trying to push in, like limit terms, like
term
only
limits,
like limit how long they could be in.
Congressional term limits and stuff like that.
Like more transparent. Sometimes my favorite thing with somebody's like, I wish they would wear, like
NASCAR jackets.
Like NASCAR jackets. At least we
all
know who we're voting
lobbyists,
for.
All their lobbyists that they took money from, they should have to expose that. You know, before you ever run for campaign, be like, hey, I took money from.
Yeah. At least then you know who you're voting for.
That
what
way you know,
ideals.
then you're informed.
Yeah.
That's all I want is people to be able to be informed, and the media doesn't do it anymore. The internet doesn't hardly do it anymore unless you really fucking dig for it. Like
you have to really dig.
You have to know what you're doing. You have to look for the research, and on top of that, you have to filter all the bullshit.
Yeah. Well, and hopefully that's what we're doing for people is we are
trying to. Yeah.
But yeah, when we're going back into history, like about a lot of this stuff, the U.S. government wasn't as the biggest swinging dick around. It was actually a lot of it was just because
that was what got us to where.
Yeah. Well, then we had power, so we were now the number one nation for the military. We were the number one nation, but it actually went down a lot. We kept bringing our military down, and then we rose it up every time a battle came around.
That was another conspiracy with Vietnam.
Now, we have all kinds of crazy shit.
Vietnam was kind of an unsuccessful war because we didn't put all of our effort into it.
Well, we were trying to be...
right at the end, we went over there and firebombed everything and then said, fuck it, we walked away.
Well, we were doing that in the beginning, so what happened was we sent advisors first.
Just
to help them train their militaries to fight, because the idea is that it was the spread of communism on their side, and it's the spread of democracy on our side. So we're like, okay, we'll send advisors just because you guys are pro-America. We'll help you guys out. We'll teach you what you need to do. We'll give you weapons. We'll help you fight this battle. Well, then China got involved, and we're like, okay, and they attacked one of our bases that were there. So it's like, all right, motherfuckers, let's see who's big dog then. And we sent all our troops in. We're like, okay, let's play. Yeah. And after that, we started to kick the dog fuck out of it. Well, China's like, oh, okay, you want a big swinging dick? Here's another one. And now, too, they came in. We were fighting. It was more China and us fighting each other on their soil than it was them.
Vietnamese.
They were fighting a different war. The idea is that the
Vietnamese were the guerrilla warfare, and then the Chinese.
Well, they had the North Vietnamese. They had 3 different militaries in North, and we had basically the support of the People's Army, but they had so they beat the fuck out of the French, and they got the French out of there. So French were like, man, we're done having people die over here. So China's like, oh, let's come in. And what we did is they had the people that basically that's when we started the real true mental warfare started happening. Because they didn't know who was civilian and who was hiding weapons and who was harboring stuff, and it was fucked up. There's a lot of shit going on over there
that was the conspiracy with Vietnam. Is like why we didn't go over there and just fucking kick ass and take names.
Because then China would have went to war with us.
Well, it was also building the military industrial complex. We went over there and puttered around so that we could keep diverting funds to make our military bigger, more robust, and
So it's the same reason we don't fully commit to Syria, and the same reason we don't go to war with Iran, or
because it'll set things off.
Yeah, so basically there's a country behind him, a world power standing behind him, be like, you get too fucking involved, war coming in. And there's the helping them out with military. And that's why we bombed them so much, is because we couldn't jump in.
But I believe in that. But that's why I also believe that conspiracy, that we were just kind of over there just fucking humping around, and then we were building. We were fucking building the foundation for our giant military.
More North Vietnamese, less Vietnamese died than Chinese. More Chinese died than Vietnamese, North Vietnamese.
Yeah.
Just in general, like in the battles.
Well, that makes sense with what you're saying, that they were there fighting and trying to
take
over the
they'd send
territory.
men. So what they sent to help out is Russia gave them a lot of weapons, where China gave them a lot of men. Yeah. And China was just like, here you go. And basically, they'd say that the mountains would be crawling.
Isn't that disgusting, though? Like,
That's
the state gave up part of their military to just literally go die,
Yep.
like to fight this
Well,
war.
the idea was
But
to
that's-
overrun us.
But that's how wars are, and that's why I really don't understand wars. It's like we have all these superpowers
well, we couldn't
vying
and,
for
and
power
what they
and
did is
trying to
the
expand their
Ho Chi
empire.
Minh Trail
And it's
is
just killing people.
we couldn't go into Laos too. So Laos and so Vietnam, they were using Laos to basically filter all these supplies in. So we couldn't stop their supply chain, and
Right.
like they just had people. We couldn't commit to that because if we did, then it was a world war. Now it's us and China and us and Russia. Like we had to stop that from happening. So it was just really cool. Like history is cool because you get to see a lot of the things that happen in the whys, and then today you get to understand like. It's more of an understanding because you've seen it before. Like you're like, oh, well, they're trying to control the people because of X or
Yeah,
Y.
but we
Like,
keep repeating the same bullshit mistakes and getting people.
well, the
killed
idea
for
is
no
the government keep getting strong. So no, I don't think I can't remember how long the longest civilization like advanced for their time
reason.
has lasted. I think it
I think
was
the Roman Empire was the longest,
yeah, and I think it was 2,000 years.
roughly.
Yeah, it's something like that. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm thinking of one before that. But like they peaked and then it was just slowly.
And
just,
how long have we been fucking the super?
America 300 and something years.
No.
So not even fucking close to the Roman Empire.
We were established in, but we haven't been a superpower.
Well,
I mean, we're not the dominating force.
Well, superpower-
until, what 40 to
so
50s?
neither were they.
60s?
I mean, we're talking just the lifespan. Yeah, but World War II is when we
No, I'm
actually
talking
started.
singular military might. We are the biggest country. We spend more on our
The
military
GDP, right? The GDP.
than the next 5 nations combined.
Next 13.
Okay, so there you go. That's what I'm saying. We put every dollar that you pay for your federal income tax, 70 cents goes to the military-industrial complex.
Dude, that's nuts.
Yeah, well, I mean,
70 cents.
we're the governing force. We're the police of the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our job is to try to.
have American taxpayers fucking sanction other governments to use our military.
Yeah, we sell them because a lot of
We
them, like Germany
subsidize-
can't.
we
Germany's
subsidize
not supposed to
other
have them.
countries'
Japan's not
militaries.
supposed to have them. Like
Yeah.
there's countries that
But it's
say,
okay for us to go fight for them.
Well,
and that's why our weapons have gone to fucking just massive.
Well, 'cause we
lengths
have-
of, like stuff
we
we're
have
not
more
fucking-
money to put on them.
Yeah.
But you have to understand
But
the
the
problem
only
with
reason
military
we have
weapons.
that money is because of the country, the government is bleeding it from its people.
Well, and here's the thing too is the reason we for military stuff, everybody's like military strong, military this, like their weapons and stuff.
Mhm.
It was the cheapest bidder for
Yeah.
an okay product. Like
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
what we buy, what they get is basically what they can buy. The
The
cheapest for
cheapest
what does the
bid,
job. Like
yeah.
like
The
they don't
cheapest
want
bid's
the quality.
contractors.
Yeah, it's contractors.
The government goes, hey, we need this. What can you build it for?
Mhm.
And this contractor,
Well,
fucking
they do 10 of them.
Halliburton, fucking
Yeah.
Boeing, fucking all these contractors go, we'll do it for this. And then that contractor goes, I'll
Who
beat
can
that.
outbid who?
I'll beat
Yeah.
that by 300 billion.
They made a movie
You
about
know.
that.
Did
Okay.
they?
It's called War Dogs.
Yeah.
Have you seen that one?
No.
Fuck.
And I'm surprised.
That's the one with the dude from fucking Knocked Up, right? Not Knocked Up.
Super bad.
Yeah.
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 And
Him
Miles
and-
Teller.
yeah.
Miles Teller. And
Him and his
fucking-
buddy started a company and it ended up being one of the biggest weapons manufacturers for the United
Yeah,
States.
the bidders.
government.
But when I think I saw like a preview on it, but
Yeah.
like they actually don't have the ability to do that. They're like, we just
Yeah,
won
we
this
just put
bid,
the
but-
fucking bid in. Yeah, and they
Yeah,
had to
they
go
just
find
put the
weapons
bid in
shit.
and then they took the money from the government. It was like, hey, now we're gonna do it.
Yeah.
But that other movie I was talking about, the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, it's called Eraser, and they were using. It was called the EM1 Quake railgun.
That's when he was a clone, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I don't remember. It's been
With the
forever.
the dots in the eye.
Yeah.
I fucking don't
He was a
remember.
pilot?
Because
It came out in like '96.
Was he a helicopter pilot that got cloned?
I don't remember.
Fucking-
I remember the gun
Arnold's
though.
been in everything.
Yeah, I remember the fucking gun because we were talking about. you know, electric-
chopper?
Probably he flies a chopper in every fucking movie.
Got to get to the chopper. The chopper now.
No, the Sixth Day was the one where he was a clone, wasn't it?
No, the 6 days where he's like fighting the devil, trying to protect a lady from the devil.
Yeah, after they clone him, right?
No.
Dude, I fucking.
You're getting
We're
your
gonna have to
movies
look
mixed
this up,
You're
dude.
getting your movies mixed up. You need to lay off all the peyote.
Yeah,
But
it's all the fucking energy drinks and sugar.
yeah, well, you need to stay off the fucking pre-workout too.
No, hell no.
Especially because it's my pre-workout. Fuck. But it's interesting. This MK Ultra thing is interesting. It's interesting to see. I do
That's
believe that they learned. So either way, psychology, their job is to study people and try
Right,
to
their
get
whole-
more efficient.
Yeah.
Whether it's marketing, whether it's how people
just-
tick, how to prevent people from ticking. Like the whole job is to try to get people to figure out why they do things, and either to manipulate it
It
or
was just
They
the
do
brutality of
manipulate
it. It really
yeah. So
fucked with me.
it's I guess for me, it'd be the intent, like whys. So Is it?
But the intent doesn't bother me because I know the government's just trying to get control. That's
either way.
Yeah.
Period. That's the intent.
I have a problem with it either way. So as soon as you try to manipulate something and somebody to want something that you do, you're playing with their minds, like you're playing with their emotions. So whether it's for mass control or whether it's to get them to buy a Coca-Cola, I think either way I kind of have a problem with it.
Yeah.
Or a kid to buy a toy.
We're consumer
What's
soldiers.
ironic is that it's the same fucking thing.
Over and
It's
over.
the same thing. The same thing that gets you to buy a Coke is the same thing that can fucking send you
Get
into
you
a
to go
swirl
kill-
of depression.
Yeah,
you know
go
what I mean?
kill
Like,
10 people.
Yeah, well, you've seen fucking what is it? Goddamn, the Avengers, right? You've seen that.
Yeah, I've seen.
Okay, where the guy comes in and he tells the Winter Soldier guy all these fucking different like numbers, and then he clicks over
yeah,
and
so
tries
there
to
you
fight
go.
everybody. That's MK Ultra.
That's MK Ultra. The
Yeah.
Winter Soldier, when he doesn't remember when he fucking goes off and fucking fucks
Kills
all
Tony
these people
Stark's
up,
dad.
and then he gets whoop. It's because when they did all these fucking things to break the mind, they broke it into fractals. So you have this. It's compartmentalized.
Oh,
The
okay.
military is very much about compartmentalizing.
Yeah, so you
things.
don't remember doing
You
it.
compartmentalize this part of the brain, and you teach how to do this, and then you compartmentalize this part of the brain, and then they don't even remember that this shit even fucking happened. And so that was the whole thing. It's to break this multiple personality. So it's like, hey, now you're Steve, now you're Brian, now you're John, and Steve, Brian, and John don't remember what the fuck the other one was doing.
And that's why if you watch any of the interviews with like these mass shooters and shit, they don't remember doing any.
They have
Really?
no recollection.
Yeah,
A lot of
nothing.
them don't. They're like,
No.
I don't
Yes,
understand.
yes.
They don't know why they're even there. They're like, I did this? Like, especially that whacked out one. Remember the dude with like the pink hair and the crazy bug eyes? He had no
Shut up at
fucking,
church?
Yeah, had no fucking clue why the hell he was being,
For real?
Yes.
What was it? What interviews have you seen?
A ton. I can't name all the fucking names.
Well, damn, because I've never heard of that.
Go
So
watch some of the
you
court
guys again dig
documentation.
a lot more
Yeah.
than I do because
Watch some of the court documentation, like the interrogation. If you really, especially somebody that knows like how the mind works, you can see the types of questions they ask, and then his response is just.
Yeah, that's
Like,
why
he
he
just-
looks.
it's
That's why
fucking
he's
blank face.
when
It's
he's
like-
in court, he doesn't. He's like, "You're reading this shit. You're fucking saying all this shit. I don't know.
Yeah.
I wasn't there. I didn't see any of this because he wasn't mentally snapped over. Just like if you watch that movie American Ultra, same thing with him.
What's that about?
It's the fucking Jesse Eisenberg. He's sitting there. He's like some stoner kid that works in like a convenience store.
Oh,
has
I've
like
seen
some
that.
shit girlfriend, and then some.
It's the Twilight Girl.
Yeah. And then some shit woman, fucking CIA woman comes in, says some shit, and then bam, he clicks over and he starts killing all these
It's
agents.
Jason Bourne.
Yeah, just fucking.
Which is great movies. By
He's
the
like, I don't know what's going on. I was just smoking pot and I fucking killed these dudes and my car blew up. I don't know what the fuck.
Yeah.
It's weird.
I saw that.
Yeah, that's American Ultra, MK Ultra.
Oh.
That's what that is.
But I didn't pay too close attention to it because the Twilight
Well, you
Girl.
should. They tell you shit.
Yeah,
They tell you
it's
truthful
put-
shit
it's
in
right up
movies.
your
They put it in
face.
front of you.
Yeah, they have to. That's the whole point. That's why it all works.
So it seems kind of
So
like
it doesn't seem that far out. So it doesn't seem like that it's that odd. So
It's
then it doesn't
predictive
oh, I saw
programming.
that in a movie.
Yeah. That's why you could trace the whole thing with 9/11 back to the movies too, because it's everywhere.
Oh shit! There was a
Yeah, we totally forgot about to touch that one.
TV show that aired shortly before 9/11. And I forget what the hell I was watching, but they were like talking about how it was going to be an inside job and they were going to hit the Twin Towers with an airplane. It was a TV show that aired. I forget what the hell it was. There was like some weird
so
political
if you're looking at to see what our views are and stuff of that, literally go back 2 episodes and listen to the 9/11. Very, very emotional, but very, very sovereign, and like we take those very seriously. But listen to those, and you'll get a little bit more. And so if this is your first one, I don't want you to think that we're just fucking nuts all of a sudden. We're bringing up stuff.
Yeah, because so you touch the subject of like The Simpsons too. Like in Family Guy, they nail almost every fucking time. Like with Trump being president and everything. There's so
a lot
much
of stuff
shit.
gets predicted on TV.
Yeah, predicted on TV. Because it's actually
For
already
those-
fucking
for
planned
those-
out.
Air quotes.
Yeah,
Air quotes,
Yeah,
air quotes.
Anytime someone does air quotes, you have to take a shot.
So
That
you
person.
could could go dig in that one.
Or say allegedly. And then you'll probably be dead
Yeah.
by the end of the podcast.
Allegedly.
I don't feel very good. You've had a lot to drink there, Junior.
Yeah, you should watch that movie again, but actually pay attention to it.
Yeah, now that somebody's pointed out that it's supposed to, I do want to actually go watch it because in my mind it's like, what did I watch? Because to me it's kind of like okay,
You'll start seeing it more and more.
kind of like the new Batman movie.
And then
Not
do
really
me
interested.
do me a personal favor. Watch for the 23s and 32s. Do it. I promise you.
What's the one with Jim Carrey?
Number 23.
Yeah, that
Is
was.
it 23?
Yes.
Yeah.
It is called The Number 23.
Yep.
Yes.
Yes.
I've seen it, but I was like, this is fucking nuts. What am I watching?
Yeah, numerology is very weird.
Yeah.
'Cause It's fucking everywhere.
All right, real quick. We're already here. What's the big thing about 23 again?
23 and 32 is the Illuminati numbers. That's what they operate on.
Skull and Bones, 332.
Yeah, 332. Yeah.
233 backwards. They like a lot of stuff backwards. So like, here's a overarching ideology and theme to this weird like underground deep state pedo satanic thing.
It's so.
They
deep.
like the mirror world. They like shit upside down. They like shit to be ironic and weird. Like it's backwards. Everything should be backwards to them. So that's. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Basically, like it's
they
kind of like
weirdness. They like that. So if you see more and more of the occultist symbolism and stuff,
kind of like moronic irony.
Well, the
Yes.
easiest
we're
way to
putting it in
explain
front
it.
of you. We're
yes,
putting it in front
yeah.
of you.
Ha ha ha. See,
The easiest
Right
way
here.
to explain it, the way he was going about it, the more known way is as above, so below.
Yep.
So
Yep, as above, so below. So it's like a mirror.
Yeah.
Literally a mirror is a metaphor for another reality.
like you've seen
So-
Stranger Things, right? Notice
The
they no.
upside down.
Yeah, they call it the upside down.
Never seen it.
Okay, so Stranger
Don't ruin
Things
it for me
is
because I do want
a
to see
really
it.
really good show. You should watch it.
Yeah, it is
But
really good.
It's very cool. But yeah, that's something happens in the town. There's these weird monsters that shouldn't exist, interdimensionality, and it's called the upside down. So it's it's everywhere, dude. And maybe it's because I'm a fucking crazy person, or it's because it's fucking.
It's because the frogs are gay.
Yeah.
Alex Jones reference.
Oh fuck!
So-
I love it. It's so funny.
Again, keep in mind that they're on a different planet than I am on. Okay, like they're.
We're
but
just on
here's-
different frequencies.
Yeah,
That's
no,
all.
no,
Yep.
let's not get that.
You know, I'm
creative
telling
with
you,
it.
it's
The
just
whole
like
universe is based
so
off frequency. We're
If
on
you
a
think about
different frequency.
a V directionally, right? If let's say it never ended, they're so far out there, they're so close together that I
It
even
can-
at the point I'm like,
It connects
We're
a
so
diamond, it
far
makes a
out
diamond.
that the two of us are closer than they are.
the
than
closer
we are
we
to
get,
you.
yeah. So, and again, here's the cool thing too. It's something to keep in mind, especially if you're new, or if you've been here for a while. Is you guys didn't know each other before this, so the information that you're providing is
It correlates.
it. Well, I mean, very much so. Well, if you're watching the podcast, you'll see one shaking his head yes, and the other shaking his head yes, and they're both talking and waiting to talk but it's the same thing they're saying. So like once it's said, that's exactly what I
Well,
was
like a
gonna
lot
say.
of people don't know is the first podcast we all three did together was the first original time we officially met each other.
Yeah.
Besides
Right.
seeing each
I've
other,
never really hung out or
never talked to
with-
each other,
with
yeah.
Fucking Rooster at all
Yeah.
before any of this.
I forgot that, yeah, because I
Yeah.
introduced you guys.
Yeah.
But it was in a
It
podcast. I was
here,
like,
yeah. It was like, hey, we're gonna do this podcast.
this
It's like,
guy's nuts
fuck
and
this.
you're nuts.
Yeah.
Let's see where it goes. So like, yeah, and that's where actually because of how out there you guys, I got the name for the channel, Stray Logic, because I was thinking like original idea, original thought, and I'm like they're both kind of out there, so it's Stray, and I'm like, and I'm logical. I'm like,
Sense to me.
like it's Stray Logic.
Oh.
Like this is random thoughts, ideas, perception, hearsay. Everything that we've talked about is literally,
Yeah.
is the mind
It's
coming
just
out.
shit that rolls around in our
Yep.
heads all day long.
And I just
that
want you
wanna
guys to
talk
drink
about.
coffee so you can listen to it. You know, maybe a drink or two, because that's what mine. And then
Yep, I'm definitely hitting some wine when I get home.
yeah, and then just buckle up because I don't fucking know where we're going. So our intro every
Yeah,
single
we're going
yeah,
everywhere.
our intro every single time, you know, is
Yeah, it just
literally for that
lays it
reason.
out,
That's
yeah.
that's where I came up with this. It was like, buckle up, like good luck, like
Yeah.
here we go.
Hang on for the ride.
But I like where we went today. Perhaps if you guys can think of more creative, like really in depth stuff, like actually fucked up stories. Maybe this will be part 1. Part 2 will be fucked up stories.
I can bring that up. Yeah.
Yeah, like
Right
because
now, I have a couple on
well,
my phone.
let's save those.
Because there's people. I mean, there's people out there that are survivors now that are dealing with really fucked up after effects. Like they have split personalities. They are dealing with the after effects of this.
So maybe in
and the
number
government
2,
just went, see you later.
this Thursday we'll put out number 2, and this Thursday when we do, we'll talk about the actual
victims,
like
and what really happened.
like the
'Cause
fucked up shit. Because right now is more just like what they were.
Speculation. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
what they
mean,
were, like what they did, like. But there's no like.
No, we can get in deep on the actual torture methods and stuff.
Yeah,
that
I think
happened.
I think that would be cool.
Yeah.
Like as episode. So this is the intro to MK Ultra, but the next one will actually be like why
I'll
this
do
is a
some-
big thing.
yeah,
Like
I'll do some.
here's the
research,
here's the
pull up some
crazy
articles,
part. Yeah, so that's what I need from both of you is maybe 6 stories apiece. We'll do 6, and then I'll just listen to all 6.
No, you have to come up with another 6.
That's gonna be terrible. It's gonna be like the brain works funny because. So let's do that 6 apiece, and then I'll listen to all 6 from both of you. You see what I did there?
Yeah.
You said demons, and that all equals 23.
Illuminati, whatever.
Again, some of this is crazy to
It's
me.
left eye, right?
I have no idea. But let's also not forget we have a live event coming up we're going to be doing. We'll have a date for you soon. It'll be the Dancing with the Devil.
Yeah, play with my
or
shit.
Rooster gets to play with some of his stuff in front of us. We might do it here. We might do it up in the woods. I don't know.
I'm still trying to convince this fuck to play with the Ouija board. To at least touch it. Put your hands on it. Come on.
I guess. How about this? We get.
If we get something to pick up on the electromagnetic stuff, you
give me.
with the Ouija board.
You guys give me this because this will be on a YouTube channel too. I want 40
vote.
likes.
Let's vote it. Yeah, I like
40 likes. We'll be on the Facebook page too. We'll take it to a vote on the Stray Logic Facebook page, and on here, if we can get this episode to get 30 hearts, so like the straight Castbox likes type things, we get 30 of those.
Do it.
And on any one of those platforms, and absolutely.
32. Let's go just straight 32. You got to go to the 32.
Yeah,
Oh God. Okay. If we watch it, only get to 23.
Oh,
then we're doing it anyways. We're doing it anyways if that's the case.
All right, so 32. If we get 32 likes, then I'll consider fucking with the Ouija board on a live.
I really want to sit down and watch a full movie with you, so I could just point this shit out to you.
No.
Yeah.
Like if anybody has my Snapchat, I'd probably drive them crazy because that's literally all I post on my fucking Snapchat. When I'm watching movies and shows, I'm like, oh,
you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna do
a
reverse search of all the movies that don't have the shit you're pointing out.
There's not gonna be any.
Okay, we'll see. For him, it's all about flat Earth stuff, though.
What, the 23 and 32?
No, not that stuff.
Oh.
The flat Earth stuff. There's a globe because they're indoctrinating us because the Earth is flat. Oh, the frogs.
I haven't even. Okay, so I have the conspiracies about the 32 and the 23s, right? But I haven't even touched on the globes in the movie, so don't even get me started.
I'm just saying, bro. Like, not everything he's saying is squared away, man. So.
I don't know. I've been in a plane. I couldn't see the curvature of the Earth, so.
Yeah, well.
It's because they tell you.
Climb Mount Everest.
They tell you it's because the Earth is so big.
It is.
You can't see the curve, but then they'll tell you can watch a boat sail over the curve.
Over the horizon.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
Have you been on the ocean?
wait.
When's the last time you went sailing?
I've
fucking
never been sailing.
My wife has done the opposite. She's been out into the ocean and watched the land float away.
Yeah. Did she pull out a telescope and see if she could still see it? Or is it only disappeared?
Well, here's my question. They tell you that waves as they come in get higher because they come up from the ground, right? Right? That's how they work. Yes. Go look it up. How do waves fucking roll? Waves come up, right?
How do they roll?
Yeah, they come up, right? As they come in.
Water elevates and lowers.
Yeah.
Okay.
As it comes in, right?
Yeah, but there have to be a driving force for that to happen. Usually it's due to something like that.
But there's waves.
Okay,
yes.
Waves, yes.
Okay.
Usually due to a storm or something.
But the ocean always has waves.
Yeah.
Always.
Due to wind, usually.
Okay.
The ocean, so you're talking far out or in?
Ocean currents.
Either
ocean
way.
currents, yeah, okay.
The moon.
Okay, so take that into effect as you're standing there watching the fucking boat. How do you know it's not the waves that you see and not the boat?
Here's
something
thing I told him, and I guess we're getting here. So I told him, I was like, you've never seen somebody in New York point a telescope out into the ocean and see Europe.
Well, no.
It's not possible.
No. But how far can that telescope see? That's what I'm saying.
All right, guys. So we'll get into this next time. This is the end of Stray Logic.
He's all fucked this. I'm cutting this one right off.
No, we'll get into this. This is the end of Stray Logic. We'll today's episode.
Another episode.
Yeah, because fuck, I'm gonna make these guys look stupid. All right.
I don't subscribe to it. I'm just throwing.
I know, because trust me, I fought with him enough.
Yeah.
All right, guys, but we appreciate you. We'll talk to you next time. You guys have anything to say?
No.
Take it easy.